Not since 2019's Joker has professional critics of the entertainment media complex wanted to see a movie fail as badly as Super Mario Bros. Granted, that was an extreme case where they mass publicized the possibility that you might find yourself in a, shall we say, negative encounter with an armed incel if you dared go support that movie in theaters. Whereas in the case of Super Mario, they restricted themselves to screaming from the rooftops about how bad it was, how nothing made sense, and worst of all, that it was problematic.
Back to the story, I would also say it's a little disturbing, because apparently in the games, Bowser, I had to look it up, Bowser is obsessed with Princess Peach, and has been for a very long time. But in today's marketplace, post-Me Too, to hear Bowser declare that he's going to ask Princess Peach to marry him, which apparently isn't a spoiler, because I looked it up and it happens in the games all the time, but he's like, I'm gonna ask Princess Peach to marry me, and like his little sycophant sorcerer is like, what if she doesn't want to? And he's like, then I'll destroy her kingdom and kill everyone she knows. And you're like, wow, that's stalker behavior. And I would say, kind of makes this not appropriate for children, quite frankly. And I would argue that most of the movie is about who's going to date Princess Peach. And that's it. My jaw was on the floor. I'm like, is that really what this movie is about? That is a really outdated story. I think fans and just moviegoers in general, and everybody associated with this film, deserve more.
Alas, despite the best efforts of Grace Randolph and other influential critics, Super Mario Bros. Is a universally beloved smash hit worldwide. And like the Joker before it, it's gonna sail past that $1 billion threshold, and by a comfortable margin. However unintentional it may have been on the part of most watching the movie, the smash success of Super Mario Bros. Was nonetheless the worldwide moviegoing audience sending Hollywood, the entertainment media complex, and Disney, the preferred propagandist of the former two, the very clear message that they do not approve of the message. This is of course very painful to admit for the powers that be, so in this editorial, we're going to look at how those who champion for the movie to fail are coping with the fact that it's a bigger hit than they ever imagined it could be, even in their worst of nightmares. And we'll do so by exploring the numbers, the copium, and the inevitable repercussions. Super Mario Bros. Collected more than $200 million domestically over the course of its 5-day opening weekend, which is including Wednesday and Thursday figures. Without those, it did about $150 million in the normal Friday to Sunday range. Add international figures to that and it opened to nearly $400 million worldwide. Those are numbers the MCU used to see in its prime. With that kind of an opening, it would have to fall off a cliff not to get to $1 billion. With the audience loving it, great word of mouth, kids not wanting to wait until the digital release begging their parents for repeat viewings, and no real competitions until Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3 in another month. I stand by what I've been saying since December of last year. This could very well be the biggest movie of this year. And the establishment media complex that wanted the movie to fail? Well, there isn't really anything else to do but to report the numbers and pretend their earlier misgivings never happened. While of course, adding in some bitter gaslighting colored commentary wherever possible.
It's changed the video game movie formula. Forever, I think. It's become a pawn in the conservative culture war. Is this the anti-Disney movie? Yet fascinatingly, the biggest demographic to turn up is Latino audiences, themselves divided politically.
Yeah, that was the very first thing on Grace's mind, as I'm sure it was on that of every other representative of the entertainment media complex. So let's begin by going there. Grace instantly invoked a conservative cultural war and anti-Disney sentiments, but that is pure copium as well as navel-gazing. She might have had a point if these numbers were exclusive to the US, but they're not. Super Mario is a worldwide hit, while by contrast, Marvel's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, as well as both of Disney's big animated features from last year, Strange World and Pixar's Lightyear, were all worldwide flops, universally rejected by domestic as well as international audiences. And this is where the conservative cultural war argument falls apart. That interpretation comes from navel-gazing at American politics, but on the whole, international audiences don't follow that. They'll be more occupied by their local matters, but even so, Super Mario is a worldwide hit, while the recent Disney projects have all been worldwide flops, across countries, cultures, and language barriers. Why is that? The reason audiences worldwide are abandoning Disney is that ever since man dwelled in caves around campfires, we have told stories. Stories that engage, are uplifting, and most importantly, that impart simple yet important messages to the young. Messages about being virtuous, about looking out for one another, and fighting off dangerous outsiders so good may prevail. These are the same basic messages that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby imbued into their stories, and when Marvel adapted those stories in the early years of the MCU, audiences worldwide flocked to them, because they were universal. Audiences everywhere crave stories that are heartwarming and have positive messages, and for the better part of a century, Disney provided that, but they no longer do. Now, Disney are in the business of disseminating ideopolitical propaganda, to the point where even their own shareholders stand up to the company's management.
Hello, Bob. I'd like to address what I view as the elephant in the room. Over the last few years, Disney has turned from a place of magic for children to an ideological company, serving LGBTQ, IA+, however many other letters you want to add to that, lobbies, to groom children. Over and over again, we see how your films and entertainment are increasingly promoting the woke agenda. How can you explain to parents worldwide that you recently celebrated 100 years of history by collaborating with the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus to produce an LGBTQ IA+ themed Disney musical? This is a group who have explicitly stated that they want to indoctrinate children. They literally sang a concert and they sang the words, "We will convert your children quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it." Disney chose to collaborate with these predators to sing to children. How can you explain to parents worldwide that over the next few months, dozens of highly sexualized gay pride parades will take place in Disneyland parks worldwide, the exact places where they used to take their children for fun? Are you surprised that Disney's audience has plummeted, losing 2.4 million subscribers in the last quarter? Parents have simply had it up to here. No wonder you were laying off 7,000 employees from today, in addition to the other thousands last year. No wonder Disney's stock value dropped more than 30% over 1 year. As a Disney shareholder, I have a simple question. Would it not be beneficial for the company to ditch the LGBTQ, IA+, and gender ideology for good? If you are really interested in refloating Disney, please turn Disney back to the apolitical fun place that it used to be. And I bet that you'll win back both the trust of families and the stock market. Thank you.
That was a clip from the recent Disney shareholder meeting. See the full video for more on that, link is in the description. Point being, as soon as the audience wisened up to what Disney is doing, regardless of whatever else happens in the States, audiences around the world walked away from Disney and towards someone else who still does what Disney used to do. And right now, that is Nintendo. To massacre Sega's old slogan, Nintendo does what Disney don't, and that is what is going on here. Even so, in being a video game adaptation, this is a game changer. About the impact of this, Grace, in between the salt, did make some good points.
Because as I said, Super Mario Bros. Just changed the game. So historically, making a movie or TV show based on a video game has been about expanding that game's fan base, exposing it to new audiences. And that meant putting in a story dreamed up by Hollywood. And usually, that story has been found lacking, right? Fans haven't been too pleased with Hollywood's interpretation of their beloved games. But they would still show up in smaller numbers, the hardcore fans, just because they were so happy to get the love. But then here comes Super Mario Bros., where creator Miyamoto insisted that there would be hardly any story in this movie, just like in the game. Over the years, Super Mario Bros. Has sold over 400 million copies worldwide, generating 22 billion with a B in revenue. So suddenly, this is the shift. Hollywood isn't offering video games a chance to expand their fandom. They are asking video games for a piece of their fandom, at least for huge IPs like Super Mario Bros. It has totally flipped the script as to who's in charge.
That's exactly right. What happened right here was a power shift. It's not going to help more modestly budgeted Sega productions or any other random video game adaptations. But Nintendo just became a power player in Hollywood by audience vote. So right now, however salty they may be about it, the entertainment media complex better fall in line. Let us see the welcome of Nintendo to the big leagues, and the downplaying of the initial resistance.
Universal and Illumination, as I said, don't have to understand Miyamoto's process to count all that cash. And Universal is all in on Nintendo, just like Disney, creating very popular theme park lands across the globe to build on this relationship, with Nintendo lands having now opened in Japan and Los Angeles and set to open very soon in Orlando as a major part of Universal's brand new giant theme park to compete with Disney, Epic Universe. And so what if Super Mario Bros. Is an Easter egg movie? Isn't the game itself about collecting Easter eggs when you think about it, right? Making the movie-going experience perfect for fans of the game, with multi-generational appeal, as the game has been around since 1985. You can even collect Easter eggs in the theme park land. That's part of that experience as well. You get a bracelet, you punch a bunch of stuff, Universal makes money off of the bracelets, you get to have a game-like experience. Well, the rest of us are left scratching our heads, not understanding the brand. But again, so many of you love it, who cares?
And there you have it. Nintendo is now a power player, the same way Marvel became a decade and a half ago. What did you think about the movie, and which part of the Nintendo cinematic universe are you looking forward to the most? Let me know in the comments.